I kissed another man and said nothing. He knew everything. He didn't ask where I'd been. That was the first mistake I noticed. I stood in the doorway, coat still on, pulse still elevated from a moment I kept replaying against my will. The house smelled the same, clean, familiar, safe, which made my skin itch. He was sitting at the table, laptop closed, hands folded, waiting, but not impatient, calm in a way that felt rehearsed. I kissed another man an hour ago, not passionately, not desperately, just long enough to be irreversible. I expected anger, suspicion, at least a glance at my lips searching for proof I hadn't erased well enough. Instead, he looked up slowly. "Did you eat?" he asked. His voice was neutral, controlled, almost gentle. I nodded, a lie stacked on another lie so quickly it scared me how natural it felt. I hung my coat, avoided his eyes. My mouth still felt unfamiliar, like it no longer belonged to me. He stood, walked past me, close enough that I felt the warmth of him, but he didn't touch me. That was new. "Long night?" he said, not a question. "Yes." Still no accusation, no tension breaking the surface. But something had shifted. I felt it in the way the air pressed heavier against my chest, in the way silence stretched, deliberate and measured. I followed him with my eyes. He knew. I didn't understand how yet, but I knew the moment had already passed, the moment where denial could save me. Whatever I had done, he wasn't discovering it, he was confirming it. I told myself it was harmless. That was the story I repeated until it sounded like truth. It had started weeks ago, long conversations at work, lingering jokes, shared complaints that felt intimate only because I let them be. He listened differently, watched me when I spoke, made me feel visible. That word still disgusts me. Visibility is addictive when you're no longer sure you deserve it at home. My husband hadn't changed. That was the problem. He stayed consistent while I drifted, and consistency feels invisible when you stop paying attention. The kiss happened at a company event, music too loud, drinks too frequent, boundaries softened by atmosphere and ego. I didn't pull away fast enough, and then I didn't pull away at all. Afterward, I laughed it off, said it meant nothing, said it was just a moment. I believed that lie because it was convenient. I came home with the confidence of someone who thinks secrets stay buried if handled gently. I didn't confess. I didn't apologize. I didn't even feel guilty enough. What I felt was entitled to silence. Days passed. My husband stayed observant. He didn't interrogate, didn't search my phone, didn't corner me with suspicion. Instead, he watched me like someone studying a slow leak they already understood. That's when unease crept in. He stopped initiating touch, stopped asking questions, stopped filling the quiet with reassurance. The house became orderly, predictable, emotionally sterile. I thought I was getting away with something. In reality, I was being given space to reveal myself fully. And I did. Every time I avoided his eyes, every time I smiled at my phone, every time I chose silence over integrity. I didn't realize it yet, but I was no longer hiding the kiss, I was advertising it. I started noticing his distance before I noticed my fear. He moved through the house with intention, precise, as if every step was part of a larger pattern I wasn't invited into. He no longer asked when I'd be home. He no longer cared. That terrified me more than anger ever could. I tested him once, touched his arm while he was reading. He paused, just for a second, then gently removed my hand. "I'm busy," he said. Not cold, not cruel, final. I felt the imbalance then. the power shift. I began watching him the way he'd been watching me. Late nights at the office, not working, reading, researching, notes scribbled and discarded, calls taken in another room, voice low and steady. He was planning something, not revenge, resolution. That realization hit me harder than guilt ever had. I checked my phone obsessively, deleted messages, archived conversations that already lived somewhere else, places I couldn't erase. I told myself he was just tired, that marriage goes through phases. But every night, he slept closer to the edge of the bed, facing away, already gone. I wanted to confess then, but confession is selfish when it's driven by fear. And fear was all I had left. The man I kissed texted me. I didn't respond, not because I chose my husband, but because I sensed the story was already ending, and I didn't control the ending. The silence between my husband and me grew heavy, intentional. It wasn't neglect, it was preparation. He was detaching with discipline, and I was unraveling without noise.
Confrontation. It never came. What came instead was worse. Clarity. He told me on a Sunday morning. No raised voice, no anger, just facts. We were sitting at the table, coffee untouched, sunlight cruelly normal. "I know about the kiss," he said. My body reacted before my mind did. Breath caught, hands trembled. "I didn't," I started. He raised a finger, not threatening, final. "You don't need to explain," he said. "I already understand." That broke something in me. Understanding is not forgiveness. He slid his phone across the table. A timeline, dates, times, locations, not just the kiss, everything that led to it, every micro-betrayal I had dismissed as harmless. "You were careful," he said calmly, "but not honest." I tried to cry. It felt performative. "How long?" I asked. "Long enough." I reached for his hand instinctively. He pulled it back. That movement hurt more than words ever could. "I didn't sleep with him," I whispered. "I know," he replied. No relief, no validation, just acknowledgement. "You don't lose trust in a marriage because of sex," he continued. "You lose it when your partner chooses secrecy over respect." I saw then that the kiss wasn't the betrayal, it was the confirmation. He stood. "I'm leaving," he said. Not dramatically, logistically. And in that moment, I understood something terrifying. He wasn't reacting. He had already decided. I asked him if we could fix it. That was my last attempt at control. He didn't answer immediately. He looked at me the way you look at something you've already mourned. "You already did what you wanted," he said. "I'm just responding." I told him it meant nothing. He nodded. "That's why it matters." He packed quietly, efficiently, took only essentials. No shouting, no lectures, no punishment I could point to and call cruelty. Before he left, he turned back once. "I knew the moment you stopped meeting my eyes," he said. "The kiss just confirmed you'd already gone somewhere I couldn't follow." That sentence destroyed me. Not because it was harsh, but because it was accurate. The other man meant nothing, but my choice to risk everything for nothing, that meant everything. The door closed. No slam, no final words, just absence. And suddenly, I was alone with the consequences of a moment I had called harmless. Time doesn't heal what accountability avoids. I replay the kiss often, not with longing, but with disbelief at how small it was compared to what it cost. He never came back. He never asked for closure. He never punished me. He simply removed himself from a story I had rewritten without his consent. That was his power move. Silence. Finality. I understand now that betrayal doesn't require intent. It requires permission, and I gave myself that permission without hesitation. The man I kissed faded quickly. The man I lost became permanent. Sometimes I draft messages I never send. Not apologies, explanations. But explanations are still selfish. So I keep my silence now, not as a strategy, as acceptance. The truth is simple and unforgiving. I kissed another man. I said nothing, and my husband knew everything. Because love doesn't miss when it's being replaced. It feels it. Immediately. And when he walked away without looking back, I finally understood something I should have known before. The moment I chose secrecy, I chose the ending. And he simply respected my choice.